Hello everybody, and welcome to African Apocalypse, the virtual screening tour.
It was harrowing in parts, it was beautiful in parts, it's humbling in parts.
It's a brilliant film in terms of how it was shot and how it was made.
Enlightening, engaging, really enjoyed it.
And real.
And for me, it was a fantastic education because I really hadn't heard of this Paul Voulet before.
I thought that the film gave me an opportunity to see the history of the French contribution to the dehumanization of African people.
I felt like I was going on an educational journey, and so I discovered a lot. And it's often for us to focus and concentrate on, the British Empire and colonialism and all what they did, when this really highlighted all the other kind of empire building that was going on. And certainly the French dimension was something I haven't really spent a lot of time studying.
I'd heard about King Leopold, I'd seen all of the things about King Leopold, and being born in the United States, I had heard about the English and the Dutch involvement there and the Spanish involvement throughout the Caribbean and the Americas. And I felt that the film gives us an opportunity to also see that we can't confront what we can't see.
And it's very confronting and it's poignant, and this is what we do need in society. As I've always said, this needs to be on the curriculum. This is what people need to know. This is what we need to be showing, because actually it was the dehumanizing of black and brown people throughout the world. So it's very poignant.
The continent is littered with stories, both before it was colonized and stories of colonial violence that haven't yet been told.
It's about, his story. So we break that word. I'm sure you've heard that term before, where we talk about history and his story. And it's really important that we acknowledge that a lot of what we see as history is only through the lens and the prism of a certain group of people, and normally those who are, in control, so to speak. So it's so important that we as a community, if you like, take control of our own media.
So it's always better to center our voices at the center of our own stories, so that it's us telling what took place.
So with The Heart of Darkness, it's told from the victor's perspective. It's told through the lens of whiteness, whereas African Apocalypse is told from those that were subjected to that dehumanization.
I like being able to see that the descendants of my ancestors, Hausa people, are refusing to forget. And I think that's important even for those of us who've been displaced into the diaspora as a result of the transatlantic slave trade.
The Ivory Coast, the Gold Coast, what was also the Slave Coast at the time, one of them was called. All of the capital cities were on the ports near the sea, and you'd have railroads that went from wherever the natural resources were to the port, and then they would take it over to Europe. It still hasn't finished. In Niger, they used the Central African franc, the West African franc, or the West African Niger, which is a currency which is pegged to the euro and printed in France. So France basically still controls the currency of most of these Central and West African French nations. We need to push this film within both the French and the Nigerian spaces and globally.